We turn now to what are escalating tensions between the U.S. and Cuba. The Trump administration issued fresh new sanctions on Cuban officials. In a statement yesterday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the sanctions, quote, restrict the Cuban regime's ability to suppress the will of the Cuban people. Cuba's president has responded, saying no one in Havana's government or military institutions has assets or property protected under U.S. jurisdiction. CBS News correspondent Cristian Benavides joins us from Miami to discuss this. Cristian, good morning. What can you tell us about these new sanctions and who is specifically targeted?
Errol, good morning. Well, what these sanctions do is essentially freeze most U.S. assets. This includes any property or any bank accounts that these individuals may have. Now, it's unclear if any of these individuals have any U.S. assets, but the point is the message. This is another way for the U.S. to pressure the regime at what is considered one of the weakest points that they've been at. Among the top Cuban officials that have been hit by the new sanctions, you have the President of the National Assembly, the Ministers of Communications and Justice, several people that are working for the armed forces, including the Deputy Minister of Defense and 3 generals and the Director of Intelligence. Now, the State Department in a statement said that the United States will continue to take action to counter the Cuban regime.
And Cristian, we're also hearing that the U.S. could bring charges against Raul Castro. What's the reaction to that? What are you hearing from people?
Right, Chanel. Officials telling CBS News that the U.S. is planning to indict the 94-year-old former leader Raul Castro, the brother of Fidel Castro. All of this is over the shoot-down of humanitarian planes by a Miami organization in 1996. 3 U.S. citizens and 1 U.S. resident working for Brothers to the Rescue were killed by the regime. Brothers to the Rescue is an organization that they had a fleet of about 10 planes. They would go out and look for Cubans who may be in distress out in the ocean and help them as they made their journey from Cuba to South Florida. They also participated in other pro-democracy events, such as dropping leaflets over parts of Cuba. I spoke to Jose Basulto, the president and founder of Brothers to the Rescue. Now, during that 1996 incident, 2 planes were shot down. He was on a 3rd plane. Let's take a listen.
At one point, I saw to the right of my plane a big black cloud, meaning that was one of my brothers that has been taken down.
Do you ever think back about that day?
No.
Why not?
Because it's painful.
Do you want Raul Castro to be brought here to Miami to face justice?
I hope he's made to come here to the U.S. to be indicted and receive justice.
The Miami Herald reports that that indictment could be unsealed tomorrow. There is an event being held here tomorrow to honor the 4 families that lost their loved ones in 1996. Now, whether the U.S. would actually bring the 94-year-old former leader is unclear. What is clear is that this could give the U.S. a tremendous advantage and pressure point in order to enact change, regime change, on the island.
Yeah, and Raul turning 95 in about 2 weeks. Really interesting interview there from you, Cristian. Explain to our viewers why we're seeing this increase in tension now, though.
Well, look, I think the Trump administration has made it clear that when it comes to this hemisphere and this region, according to them, they want allies in the region. Having a regime that is allied with Russia, with China, and with Iran, we are at war with Iran. So having a regime like that just 90 miles off the coast of Florida, the Trump administration says is not in the national interest of the U.S.
All right, Cristian Benavides reporting from Miami for us. Thank you.